So how did the Americans take to that when you sort of first went over there? Did they sort of see it as a bit of a British invasion taking over their style? Or
not at all. I mean, you know, they wanted to win the DMC and they still do. You know, I think in their hearts everybody knows this thing should belong to America. It should be based in New York. But it isn't. It was our initiative, and we were the ones who, you know, got the Technic sponsorship, which made it possible, and the branches, which made it possible to bring so many DJs into one point. That would be very expensive if you had to pay for that. So our method of doing it made it happen, and it became a British thing. You know, we did try moving it. We did it in New York one year. I always felt that the New York audience at that time were very spoilt, and they weren't as great an audience as the one in the UK. The UKs know how to show their heart and soul when they love something. The New Yorks are super cool, you know, which is fine. But for an event of our kind, we felt the home for the World DJ Championships was London. We went to Italy twice. We went to Paris once. And at the end of the day, my team's here in the UK, and it's easier to administrate it when your whole team's here. You go away, your team's got to go away. It's very, very much more difficult. And that's why the DMC, into its 27th year now, is kind of like... it's owned by the world, but it's organised by the Brits.
Yeah, and you mentioned your team you've got here. Am I right in thinking DMC is pretty much a sort of family business, really?
It is a family, although they're not all family. There are about maybe 20% of the team are family members, from Christine, my wife and partner, Susan, who's the managing director. I mean, all the fans who come to the live event know all my family, because they're always on stage running around doing things, you know. You see them in the cash box, or you'll see them in the merchandise stall. Yeah, we are a family. There's very few people here who've been with us less than 10 years at least. You know, they're all, yeah, we look after our people, and they like being here. It's just a good atmosphere.
So presumably, were you interested in sort of turntablism and what Tony was doing from a young age?
I've basically grown up with it. Yeah, we moved down here when they set DMC up when I was 3. So always as a child, you know, I was around DMC, the offices, because they were based at Tony and Christian's house. And when I was 6, they got me on a record, because they used to have a studios at DMC. So I was on one of their releases, which was very funny. I had to say the 10 Commandments, but how a child would say it. So yeah, I've grown up with it, and I think it was just, I used to, taught myself how to play the piano. I played instruments, and I've singing. So I've always been had a musical, love there. So that, yeah, it's always been there. I think it's just a natural progression.
I don't say this company is run by a great business brain. My success has been great ideas, whether it be Mixmag or whether it be DMC or the Mixing Championships. These are the things. The great ideas in life are what drag you along. You can make all the business mistakes you like, but if the idea is great, you'll survive all the mistakes.
So you mentioned all the sort of changes in the sort of evolution of turntablism and DJing, and you've just recently made an announcement that you're going to be allowing Serato and those kind of products next year.
Yes.
So what have you found the reaction has been to that?
I think there's always going to be some negative. There just always is. Every single decision anyone ever makes, there's always someone that disagrees. I think that the negative people will have to wait till next year and actually see for themselves, because I think sometimes it's either a lack of understanding or a lack of wanting to move forward, or they just genuinely think that it's not the right decision or to make. But being the organiser of the event and in touch with DJs all over the world, and knowing the current state of how much vinyl is accessible to DJs, it's certainly the 100% right move.
So in the 27 years that you've been going, obviously there's been a lot of changes in DJing, how DJing's done, the type of music people play, and especially in technology.
Yeah.
I mean, just now we're seeing the sort of demise of the Technics deck, which is going to be presumably a big change for... Is that going to affect the DMC World DJ Championships?
Well, we've known for a couple of years now that Panasonic, which is a company called Matsushita in Japan, have wanted to play down the brand Technics because it's an infringement on their Panasonic concentration. And they would have dropped it years ago had it not been for the Technics SL 1200 range that everybody adores. and the DMC Championships, which kept the name alive. Eventually, though, with everything going digital, they decided analog was history, and they used that as an excuse to finally put the guillotine on the SL1200 range. Having said that, they're just not going to manufacture it anymore. But I can't see the turntable leaving our culture. I think people will always be able to find second-hand SL1200s, you know. So it will go on. I mean, you've got Stanton and other companies who are doing great decks now. They'll probably fill the gap. So the actual turntable isn't dead. It's only Technics that have too big. They're like a dinosaur. They're a massive company, but the brain's a little bit too small for the body. They didn't realise, and I tried to impress on them year after year, how important the name Technics was in the world, you know, of young people. I said, if you put the word Technics on your mobile telephones, you'll sell more than the word Panasonic. I promise you. Kids will love it, you know. They wouldn't listen to me. So that's where we are. So this year, as you probably heard, everybody's been told, we are going to embrace some technology. We're going to put our foot in the water, and this isn't us deciding, it's the DJs, the mixers themselves, who've been saying to us through Sally, through our websites, look, you know, digital mixing has got a really wide creative potential. You should let it happen now. Keep the turntable, but let them use, you know, Serato is going to be one of our prime sponsors next year, and they're a great company, and Rain, another one of our sponsors next year. Two great companies who have not demanded that we only use their equipment. So Serato will be quite happy if a DJ turns up with Tractor, and Rain will be quite happy if a DJ turns up with a Numark mixer, and so on and so forth. So we've got great sponsors, a great attitude, and we're all looking forward now to seeing the DJ art bring itself into the 21st century and see what they can do with it. And we'll protect turntablism because we love it, because it is a dynamic art form. It should never die. So the battle for world supremacy will remain only vinyl and only turntables for the foreseeable future. But if it does change, it will be the DJs, the turntablists themselves, who make those changes at DMC.
I just think that, you know, people are forgetting that, you know, for quite a few years now, if you look at the World Finals, a lot of the champions have used pressed vinyl that they have to actually get pressed themselves, apart from Shifty 2009. But, you know, it's because vinyl isn't, you know, if you hear it, there's a new record out that you want to use, and it's not on vinyl, you can't use it. So how you're actually quite limited now. So unless you want to use older vinyl, there's nothing really new in there for you, or unless you have the money to get yourself your set pressed and produced, or whatever it is you want to do, you know, it's really limited, and it would be the same thing every year. So, you know, the allowance of DVS is just going to open it up completely to new music, and, you know, who knows where it's going to go, but I certainly think it's the right move to make.
Goodness me, when we did the Autophon sponsorship and said you've all got to use Autophon stylus, it was outrage, you know. I use Shure, I use this, I use that, and there was complete outrage, you know. But what they didn't realise is that DMC can't do this without support. And Autophon came in like the cavalry, you know. Technics had stopped putting money our way to fund this, and Autophon came along just at the right time. So yeah, sponsorship unfortunately sometimes is the shaking hands with the devil time, unless you've got a great sponsor. Technics were a great sponsor. They didn't impose anything on us. They just paid us the sponsorship fee and let us get on with it, which is great. And I think now we've got the same spirit going with Rain and Serato.
For the purists, I suppose we should better say you're still doing the battle for supremacy.
The battle for supremacy will still be vinyl only. There is no time to change around with, you know, Serato and, you know, laptops. But no, I think we need to keep one event pure vinyl only for, you know, the purists.
All right, excellent. And I think DJ Woody was trying something with sort of audio-visual mixing this year as well.
Incredible show. It's Turntables in Technicolor. We had him tour with us for the UK Heats, and it was just amazing. You know, watch it. I mean, he created and designed all the footage himself, all the visuals he did himself. So he's not only like an amazing DJ, but he's, you know, designer, creative. You know, it's just an amazing show.
Watch this space. You know, we've got DMC World TV now, and all the mixes are going on there. The day is going to come we'll stop doing DVDs and it'll all be right on, they'll be live. That's obviously going to come now as the streaming gets more sophisticated and cheaper. We're starting a radio station online. We're also, it's not for public knowledge yet, but we are going to do something online in terms of a competition, and we're really excited about that. So there's a lot going on right now at DMC.